days because I wanted first of all to think about my diary. It's an odd idea for someone like me to keep a diary, not only because I've never done so before, but because it seems to me that neither I, nor for that matter anyone else, will be interested in the embossmings of a schoolgirl. Still, what does that matter? I want to write, but more than that, I want to bring out all kinds of things that lie buried deep in my heart.
Oh, great and mighty Ra! I think that's how I'm supposed to start. I bow before you in great fear. No, that's not right. Let me try again. I kneel before you in extreme humility. Let me try again. Ra, oh great one, I give you my humble offering and humble petitions. There, that's something, right? Oh, who am I kidding? How am I to know I'm speaking to the right God? You are but one God that of the many others that we believe in. They say we see you in the sun, but how am I to know that you are real? Doesn't seem like you are. Can you hear me? Are you listening? My parents say I must talk to you in order to improve my standings in the eyes of the gods. Okay. One last time. Ra, oh great one, I give you my gracious thanks, and I bow down to the statue. There. That's enough. Now let's see. Oh, and also, give my salutations and greetings to the other gods. Okay? Okay. How should I sign this? Ah, I've got it. Great daughter, your gracious daughter, Akila of Sakara. There.
Now I come to the root of the matter, the reason for my starting a diary. It is that I've no such real friend. With all my friends, it's just fun and joking, nothing more. I can never bring myself to talk of anything outside of the common round. We don't seem to be able to get any closer, and that is the root of the trouble. Hence, this diary.
I remember the first argument we had. You were mad at me for some reason I wasn't even aware of. You didn't speak a word to me for weeks. I remember catching your eyes once in a while and seeing nothing but disfavor. It was like all of our memories were obliterated without you caring at all. I felt uncomfortable to be around you, but even more uncomfortable that I felt that way. After a while, things went back to normal and fell into place as they had been before. You started to acknowledge me as you hadn't in weeks. I felt referred to again. I went along with it because I missed the feeling of our friendship. I missed the feeling of assurance in your voice at school. But there's always something different about us, a distrust I had in you. A distrust in your loyalty, a feeling, no, actually the knowledge that you were only true to my face. And half the time, you weren't even that. After a few months, I started to feel like our relationship wasn't something worth being interested in. I felt too distant from you. You started acting different, completely different. Ever since you got back from your so-called trip, you weren't the same. I wanted to talk to you about it. I wanted you to want to talk to me about it. But you never brought it up. Honestly, our past was what kept me drawn to you, drawn to the idea of our friendship.
In order to enhance in my mind's eye the picture of the friend that I've waited for so long, I don't want to set down a series of bald facts in a diary like most people do, but I want this diary itself to be my friend. I shall name my diary Kitty. I hope I shall be able to confide in you completely, Kitty, as I have never been able to do in anyone before, and I hope that you will be a great support and comfort to me. Yours, Anne.
Oh, great and mighty Ra, I come to you in utmost secrecy. I met a Hebrew slave girl today, whose name I do not know. I cannot tell anyone about her, for fear my father would find out. I do not care to have his wrath turned on me. He thinks of Hebrews as being rebellious heathens and that they are not to be associated with, but I find that for being a rebellious heathen, she is so kind and willing to play, although wary of me. And I would so like to be friends with her, because I don't have many, well, really any friends, because I'm here talking to you. Maybe, just maybe, with Father gone on business for the Pharaoh, I can spend more time with this Hebrew girl. Could it be that we are destined to be friends?
You haven't called in weeks, not even a text. I mean, how do you go from someone being a constant in your life to someone you went to school with 5 months ago? That's not us. I don't want that to be us. I know COVID has kind of crashed the dynamic of our world, refined, normal, but I thought our relationship was stronger than that. I thought we were stronger than that. We've been through so much together, and it kind of felt like we could conquer anything. Yes, we've had our ups and downs, but we've always moved forward. We're tired of always questioning our relationship all of the time. Best friends shouldn't have to do that. At this point, are we even friends?
Henry just told me he loves me for the first time. I could tell he had something special planned for tonight because when I walked into the attic, the rest of his family were in their rooms and the supper table was dressed in a fancy tablecloth with candles on top. It was all so lovely and romantic, and in that moment I truly... But ever since I said goodnight, there's been this uneasy feeling in my stomach. I had never admitted to myself that I loved him, and I certainly didn't plan on telling him anytime soon. This makes it all so much more complicated. I've never been close to my family. They aren't very friendly people. Supper time is the only time I get to talk to them, and even then it's painfully silent. Nothing like my best friend Eva's family. They're warm, loving, kind people. Eva's their only child, but I've probably spent more time with them over the years than I have in my own home. They love me like I'm their own. I've been sure of that since last year, when they told me something that if I were to tell, it would mean the difference between life and death. They had made the decision to help a small Jewish family hide from the Nazis. That's how I met Henry. I was there to welcome his family into the house, and I immediately thought he was just dreamy. We got along from the very beginning, and to spend more and more time up in the attic with him and his family. I didn't realize how blind I had been to the horrible things happening to Jews all around me. I was amazed that he could be so optimistic in these terrible times. I could tell he was scared, but he was the first one to notice the bright in the situation. He kept his family entertained with stories of knights and princesses, or mermaids and pirates. He wants to be an author when he gets older. Or rather, if he gets older. Deep down, I think I've known I've loved him for a while, but I haven't been able to admit it to myself until tonight, because if I love him, how can I bear to lose him? I've had lovely dreams about him, then interrupted by the nightmares of the horrible things that would happen to him if his family was ever found. I don't understand why he had to be born Jewish. I don't understand why Jewish people have to be targeted. Why did this have to happen to him? Why can't we have what other teenagers have? I wish I could talk to my friends about the sweet things he says. I wish we could go out walking, or to dinner, or to the movies, or dancing. He's wonderful and always goes out of his way to make our time together special, but I wish he didn't have to try so hard. He likes to talk about the future, how in a few years we'll be married and have lots of children. I nod along because I know it helps him to think of a life after the war. But every time he does, a little more fear comes into my heart. What if he doesn't survive long enough to propose to me? This question haunts me every day. I've thought it to death, and I think the only thing I can do now is hope and pray and hold on to him as long as I can. He brings out the most positive side of me, and maybe his light will help me find able to go to a place to be safe and sound. And maybe one day I'll be able to tell my children just what we had to go through for the opportunity to have a normal life.
Remember today's date, for it is a very important day in my life. Surely it is a very great day for every girl when she receives her first kiss. Well, then it is just as important for me, too. How it came about so suddenly, I don't know, but before we went downstairs, Peter kissed me, through my hair, half on my left cheek, half on my ear. I tore downstairs without looking round, and am simply longing for tomorrow. Yours, Anne.
Nothing happened until I touched your hand. I didn't mean anything by it. I was just trying to express something to you. But after I touched it, it was as if I had opened the door to your heart. After that night, we talked to each other every day. Our eyes constantly caught each other and wanted to stay attached.
I saw you from far away. As soon as I saw you, a feeling took over my mind. It was you. The night got lost in your hair, the moon grasped your skin, and the ocean felt jealous because she wanted to be in your eyes. Was I in love? I don't know. But what I do know is that I felt a rush of passion go through my soul when I saw you. I discovered how great life is. One night felt like days. I walked with wings everywhere. I ignored time and all its barriers. I took the deepest breaths. I forgot death and sadness, and I began to hear your voice in other voices. I began to see the smallest stars. The lyrics to that song gave meaning to the feelings that my immature mind just couldn't comprehend.
It didn't matter that we were in high school. It didn't matter that we didn't understand each other or that we didn't understand what we were feeling. The only thing that mattered was that I liked you and you liked me.
I first talked to you because I was bored. Little did I know how big of a hole you'd leave in my heart. But even if I knew the future, at that time I wouldn't change one thing. The whole purpose of the trip that I went on, it was a time for me to relax, a time for me to have fun and forget all my problems. But no, my time there was encompassed by my thoughts over you and I. Reason betrayed me and my heart dominated my life. My fight against passions was over. And you know what? The passions won. Something so irrational at that time felt like the only rational solution to my feelings.
We barely knew each other, which is why I think I liked you so much. I had no opinion of you. I didn't know anything about you. We didn't talk about what we were back home, but what we dreamed of being. We wanted to understand each other more as humans. We were so far from home that it felt like we could right there and then refine ourselves. We had the opportunity to take walks together and watch the sunset. We could talk for hours without getting bored. It was just a great feeling. I remember putting my head on your shoulder and feeling like it wasn't real. Almost like if we were in a movie. I mean, there were wild animals all around us. We were 100 miles away from the closest city. And it was me and you. Out from our ordinary world in this magical existence that I'd only dreamed of. You.
I couldn't deal with the fact that I was developing feelings over you. I started to shy away. I saw our eyes meet and we made eye contact, but I still was afraid to talk to you. I didn't know how you felt. I also had a secret. That's not the point. The point is, I didn't understand what was happening during that time. And it wasn't supposed to happen. During that time, I felt like I didn't have time to think about you. Like I didn't have time to really take in what was happening. But you know what? Right now I have time. Right now I feel like I have all the time in the world to think of you, to think about the little things that surrounded us and that then I just couldn't understand.
I remember one evening we were talking and the sun was setting. You were upset because you wished that we could live closer to each other, and you knew the trip was bound to end. And yet you seemed a little distant. You wished that this trip could last forever. I cut you off, and I told you to stop talking. And I held your hand. I told you about a movie named Casablanca, how a man and a woman had had a relationship in Paris, and how they had to leave each other because life was leading them in different ways. And before they left each other, the man told the woman that we'll always have Paris. That is when I looked straight into your eyes and said that we'll always have this trip. I closed my eyes and tried to feel more than I could. At that moment, I wished I could feel this forever.
All I can think about is the time when I held you closely, tightly around my arms. My eyes were closed, and even though my eyes were closed, it's the time where I could see the clearest. You had opened a new world of possibilities, and there was meaning to my life. You think it's gonna be easy to forget these or erase these memories? Forget your hair playing in the wind, or that glimmer in your eye, or that laughter of your laughter that transported me to another, dimension? No, it's not gonna be easy. But I can't talk to you. There's an unspoken truth living between us. I won't talk to you ever again. I won't call you. I won't text you. And if you text me or call me, I won't answer. Not because I hate you, but because I think I love you. But this love, it's not possible.
Our last day together was not what I had wanted. We didn't talk to each other, and when I tried to talk to you, you gave me stale responses. Before we left each other, you hesitated for a little bit. And then you held me tightly and whispered in my ear that we always have this trip.
Adonai Yahweh, we are going through hard times. Pharaoh demands more and more from us each day. As it is, father and mother barely have enough strength to eat each night when they come home. How can they work harder? I know we are to call on you, for you are our God, but it feels like you never do anything. We've been here for over 400 years, and yet still no sign of making good on your promise to free us from our Egyptian captors. We pray for rescue, and yet you do nothing. They treat us like animals. You would think that us Hebrews deserve something for doing all the hard labor in Egypt, but no! Oh, Yahweh, I'm sorry for my outburst. I know I shouldn't be doubting or hateful of others, but sometimes it's just so hard. Why are we being treated so poorly just for being Hebrew? So hard to remember to be kind, and Father does try ever so hard to teach Lemuel and I to be patient and loving with others, and no matter who we come in contact with, but for 14 years old, that's a lot to expect.
She hasn't been here in months. She practically lives in her office now. I wonder if she's even been in here since... I came here for books. Let's see what you have for me today, Anne. Dear Kitty, yesterday Mother and I had another run-in, and she really kicked up a fuss. She told Daddy all of my sins and started to cry, which made me cry too, and I'd already had such an awful headache. I finally told Daddy that I love him more than I do Mother, to which he replied that it was just a passing phase, but I don't think so.
Pain is now my friend. Not that I seek it out, it has just become a constant companion for me. Always by my side, almost something to lean on it. I realize how cheesy that sounds, but I really feel lost, as if no one really knows me anymore. I oftentimes feel as if I don't exist and I'm just watching myself move blindly through life. Wow, this is rough. As I read my dad's journal, I find a lot of similarities between the two of us. I mean, he was 17 when he wrote this, so I guess that makes sense. Oh, and then I remember that depression runs in our family, so that's probably a better explanation than the same age thing. It's been 5 months. Thought I'd feel better by now. I continue to read. He says, I've always had suicidal tendencies, but I've never made a plan to carry them out. In fact, I think I'm afraid to die. That didn't age well. Sorry, Dad. The more I think about my dad's words, the more I wish I could have talked to him about this stuff. I mean, a couple months ago, I felt exactly what he's describing here. It's so interesting to think about him as a teenager. I mean, to me, he was always just this stoic, dad-like figure who mowed the lawn and did taxes. It's weird to think he was just as depressed as me, and that his depression was with him even beyond his teenage years.
Despite all my theories and efforts, I miss every day and every hour of the day having a mother who understands me. That's why with everything I do and write, I imagine the kind of mom I'd like to be with my kids later. The kind of mom who doesn't take everything people say too seriously, but who does take me seriously. I find it difficult to describe what I mean, but the word mom says it all. I simply can't stand Mother, and I have to force myself not to snap at her all the time, and to stay calm when I'd rather slap her across the face.
At least your mom pays attention to you. My mom? I barely see her anymore. I still can't seem to want to slap her like you. I try not to be disappointed when she tells me she can't do something with me. But it's hard. Sometimes I feel like she swapped me in her job. That's your real daughter. I'm just a bunch of busy work to procrastinate on. I just wish you would see me, you know? I mean, she used to at least act like I was there. When I would scrape my knee or get hurt, she would cover me just like a mom should, but right now, she barely acknowledges that I exist. I just don't get it. Why is she acting like this? Shutting herself up in her office thinking that maybe if she works just a little more, she won't have to face reality. She acts like her daughters don't feel the pain of what Dad did as much as she does. I feel hurt. I feel sad. She's not the only one who's confused and helpless. But we can't do anything about it. We can't change what happened, and time keeps on moving whether we like it or not. It's so hard about hugging your daughters every once in a while and telling them that everything's going to be okay, even though you know it's not. You know nothing is going to be the same again. How can she be so cruel? Was this the way she was with Dad? Brushing him off and ignoring him? Never there when he needed her? Did she even know what he was going through? Was she blind about his life too? What is it, Mom? What? The only things I ever heard you say to Dad were so blank. Where is the love you're supposed to have for him? Didn't you even see anything? Did you see anything that might have told you? Or were you just like not paying attention like you never do? Why didn't you say something? Why didn't you do something? Were you the reason he killed himself?
Oh, Yahweh, thank you for giving me the opportunity to explain my faith to my new friend, Akila. She has ever so many questions, and I struggled to keep up with all the things she wanted to know. I never before wondered who I believe in and why, but
As the questions came, I was able to answer because my parents brought me up knowing that it was you, the God of Abraham. I know many of the Israelite tribes don't remember you, or some people don't even remember your name. I am glad, though, that my parents followed on to the true promise that you give us. Oh, right. I was telling you about Akila. We met in the fields a couple of times, and I've had so much fun playing with her. She has the most fascinating stories, and is so curious, but I'm not sure what to think of her, for she is Egyptian. I don't know what to think of her in that respect, but I do want to keep her as my friend, for you know I don't have many, but you won't tell anyone, will you, Yahweh?
Every now and then I see something that reminds me of you, and it brings so many memories to mind, good and bad. I wonder how you're doing. I want to text you, but the effort isn't there. I wonder how you would react to my life now. A lot has changed. These past 5 months have felt like a year. 1 year without seeing you. A lot is about to change and is changing that I want to talk to you about. Why do I want to talk to you? I don't know. I pick up my phone to text you. What do I say? Hi. No. No words come to mind. Hey. Yeah, that sounds better. No, I need to tell her how I feel. She doesn't want to know that. Hey, Sage. I was wondering if you wanted to talk sometime. I miss you. The moment my finger released the pressure from the send key, I felt a moment of relief.
Ra, O Great One, I give you my gracious thanks for what you have done for me and all of my people in this... Wait, what have you done for me? I guess it's just habit, but all these weeks I've been talking to you, it seems like you haven't done anything. Abigail's God answered Moses' prayer, and look, the rivers, including the Nile, are filled with blood. Can you hear me? Are you listening? I have called on you and the other lesser gods of Egypt to reverse these terrible plagues, but it seems like you aren't listening, you aren't answering, nothing's happening. Are you listening? Can you hear me? Nothing is going right, even making friends. Abigail's gone. She hasn't been around. She's busy gathering straw for the brickmakers for Pharaoh's new demands. Just when I thought I might be getting to know her better. For that matter, I should try talking to Yahweh for all the response I'm getting out of you, Ra. For that matter, Yahweh might actually respond to me as he does for Abigail's people.
I woke up from a notification from you today. I read it aloud. Sage. I picture her saying my name. Why the change of heart? I shouldn't reply or read it for anything. I mean, 5 months isn't nothing, and I don't want to push that to the side. It feels like she's pushing that to the side and expecting me to forget. I won't forget, because I can't. Ruth was my best friend, and I needed her.
Red. She left me on red. I felt humiliated. I pulled out my computer and started writing. I didn't necessarily write just about you, but about everything that I felt. You just shoved my emotions over the edge. I didn't even know what to feel. I felt mad at you. Done with you. I needed to put you in the past and move on. You hurt me. But I was also mad at myself because I hurt me. I knew you would hurt me. I felt it coming, and you did.
I never told you this, and I probably never will. I have a secret. Yeah. I have a girlfriend. And that's why I can't be with you. Because it'll just hurt all of us. What we had, is and always will be in the past. I'm never gonna tell you that I loved you. I'm never gonna tell you that I had a girlfriend. Why? Why? Because it'll only change the way you perceive me. I don't want you to perceive me in a negative way. I like how you think of me right now. I'm a good guy in your head. And you think of me as a guy who cares for you and who's nice and gentleman-like, I don't know. But I'm not that at all. And I don't want you to know that. Hey, but you know what? The pain you're gonna feel, because you will feel pain when I don't text you and call you, that pain is gonna be nothing compared to the pain you would feel if I told you the truth. And you're not gonna be the one living behind a lie. I am. Okay? You'll always think of me as that nice guy you met on that trip. That's it.
Now, here I am in my room, waiting to hear from you, waiting to see a text, thinking only about you and the way you held me. You touched my soul and changed my heart. I can't go back in time even if I wanted to. If what I am feeling is not love, then honestly, I don't know what is. Because this love is burning inside of me and I can't pretend that it's not. I would do anything to have you sitting beside me right now, but I know you will call me and you'll text me and say that you miss me. This will all happen because I know who you are. But even if God stops you from calling me, I won't need to worry because I know that we'll always have this trip.
Adonai, I need your help. My friend Akila is struggling with something, although I don't know what. Ever since these troubling times between Moses and Pharaoh, we meet less and less often, and every time I do see her, she seems more distant than the time before. I see it in her face when I talk of you, and I wish she could have peace. There was a lot of strife going on with Moses and Pharaoh and the goings-on at court, and from what I hear, in the marketplace, Moses is trying to free us from the Egyptians. It all sounds really wonderful to me, but whenever I start talking to Akila, she quickly changes subject and leaves soon after. I, however, still think it's very exciting. I imagine being free from the Egyptians. Imagine being free to worship you.
Dear Hamadi, I know it probably seems weird that I'm writing to you even though you're dead. I know you don't know me, but that's okay. I just wanted to let you know that I came across your journal at my local library. When I read it, I became touched to write this. I want you to know that you're not the only one that went through a difficult time. You see, we just discovered this new virus that is very harmful and deadly. It is so bad that we are trapped in a global pandemic. Today was an especially rough day. With every day that passes, more chaos just happens in this world. I cannot seem to grasp an understanding of what I'm supposed to do here on this lonely, forgotten planet. This pandemic has really changed me. Time drags by, each minute, each hour, days start to blur into one another. I am afraid that this will get too out of control and chaotic to handle. I just don't get why stuff like this always has to happen. Am I scared for my physical health? But I'm also starting to worry about my mental health. The thoughts that pop into my head are frightening and unsettling, and the torture here is miserable. Every day I try to do what my mother says, but it gets harder and harder to want to do what is right. I am trying to be patient with these changes, and I am trying to be patient with everything going on around me, but I find that difficult to comprehend. I guess I can't complain though, because I can't even imagine what you went through. You write about staying in a hot, stuffy building with hundreds of people, and that frightens me. I don't even know how you survived with limited amounts of food during the day. My problems pale in comparison to what you had to go through. But I know things will get better.
Mummy and her failings are something I find harder to bear than anything else. I don't know how to keep it all to myself. We're exact opposites in everything, so naturally we're bound to run up against each other. I have in my mind's eye an image of what a perfect mother and wife should be, and in her whom I must call mother, I find no trace of that image. I cling to Daddy because it is only through him that I am able to retain the remnant of a family feeling. Everything in my head is a repeat of that. I remember everything. I can see everything as clear as day. I have nightmares about it. I wake up crying, wishing that anyone could understand me. I know it's dumb, but sometimes I would think maybe Mom would come in. I tell myself, anytime now. Anytime she's going to come walking through that door. She's going to hug you. You'll both cry for a bit. You won't feel sad anymore. Because you have each other. It's a dumb idea, and I don't know why I even try to think that it can happen anymore, but I guess that's just how things are, huh? I just wonder why for her it's so hard to love me. Daddy loved me. But Mom just can't. I used to talk to Dad about Mom. He knew things were rough between us, but he'd say the same thing every time. It's just a phase. She'll get over it. I didn't talk to him as much as I should have. It's been 5 months. There's not a day that goes by that I don't wish I hadn't talked to him. Maybe just a little more. Maybe asked him how he was doing. Not that he would have given me a real answer anyway. I miss him. I just keep hoping that he's right. Maybe someday this whole phase will go away. Sorry, and I didn't mean to get all upset. Who am I kidding? Talking to dead people. The pressure runs to the family, I guess. So that's what Dad and I would say. Well, I guess I should get going. Thanks for listening in.
As I open my dad's journal again, I see that he's written a letter. Doesn't seem to be addressed to anyone in particular. I think he just enjoyed the thought of communicating with someone. Kind of sad, but okay. He says, "Hi there, I hope you're well. I'm writing to you because I want to tell you about how my life has been for the past few months, and let me tell you, it has not been easy. I think I just exist to be in pain. I get these brief instances where I feel so much joy, but I know in my heart they won't last." I set the journal down. As embarrassing as it is, I think it became too much for me. So I decided to just leave the journal on the basement floor and just go about my day. Go about my day. And then I think maybe journaling will help me. I mean, if my dad can write to an imaginary friend at 17, I can definitely write to a dad who just killed himself.
For in its innermost depths, youth is lonelier than old age. I read this saying in some book, and I've always remembered it, and found it to be true. Anyone who claims that the older ones have a more difficult time here certainly doesn't realize to what extent our problems weigh down on us. Problems for which we are probably much too young, but which thrust themselves upon us continually, until after a long time we think we've found the solution, but the solution doesn't seem able to resist the facts which reduce it to nothing again. And that's the difficulty in these times. Ideals, dreams, and cherished hopes rise within us only to meet the horrible truth and be shattered. It's really a wonder that I haven't dropped all my ideals, because they seem so absurd and impossible to carry out. Yet I keep them, because in spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart. I simply can't build up my hopes in a foundation consisting of confusion, misery, and death. I can feel the suffering of millions, and yet, if I look outside into the heavens, I think that it will all come right, and that this cruelty too will end, and that peace and tranquility will return again.
Yahweh, great God of the Hebrews, and Abigail. My name is Akila. I'm not sure you can hear me, since I am an Egyptian and female. I have seen my friend talk to you once, down by the river. She has told me so many stories of you and how you've helped your people. I need to know, will you do the same for me? Even though I'm not one of your people? These last few weeks have been so terrible and devastating to Egypt. Each one is worse than the last. There is so much fear. Who or what will you strike down next? From what I see, you are much more powerful than the Egyptian gods. I just want that to be true. Father came home last night and told us what had gone on in court. Moses came to visit the Pharaoh, and he said yet again, "Let my people go." But Pharaoh refused. Again. When will he see that you are the greater power? Oh, I'm so scared. There is so much fear. Moses is warning of another plague, one that will kill every single firstborn son in Egypt, in all of Egypt. I'm scared for Egypt. Even though Abigail and I have our differences, I don't wish this on anyone. Our brother Lemuel and her are only 2 years apart, but he is the firstborn son. Please, Yahweh, spare him. They are so close. Please don't let this happen. I could not bear it. Yahweh, if you can, hear me. Hear my cry, please.
Today I found out that I'm moving. I'm not exactly sure how I feel. I'm excited but scared. Typical. To be honest, I haven't thought about Sage in a while. Exactly 32 days since I texted her. No communication. I feel almost relieved about getting away, but so much guilt for thinking that. Although she's one of the last people I would like to talk to right now, she deserves to know. I knew what I had to do.
I didn't remember hearing a knock at the door. I didn't answer it. My mom did. But I sure remember you walking into my room 30 seconds later. You shut the door and you looked at me and sat down. You started crying and I started crying. And we talked. It felt so good to talk to you. I had missed you so much. I was excited to tell you all about my summer and my trip. I felt so relieved to talk to you and finally have you back in a sense. You told me you were leaving. And my heart broke. I had lost you. Again. That night after you had left was hard. It was really hard for me. I didn't know what to feel. I didn't know what to think. I didn't want to think about you, but I did. I thought about you. That's all I could do. And I felt so mad at myself for wasting 6 months. 6 months where I could have been talking to you, where I could have been calling you. I could have been so many things with you, but I wasn't one with you. You weren't there, and that's my fault. I realize that now, and I want to take it back, but I can't. Maybe if I had time, but I don't have time. Because you're leaving.
Will I ever see you again? I don't know. But if I do, too much time will have gone by. I might have another girlfriend, and you might have a boyfriend. This I do know. Wherever you go, you're gonna meet some other guy. And he's gonna speak sweet words to you. He's gonna touch your hand and you're gonna ask him for a kiss with your eyes. Then all you will think of is if he feels the same passion for you. Then you will comprehend what it is to feel a passion like this. If he does feel the same way for you, then you'll finally be happy. If he doesn't, then in sadness or in a cry, you'll think of me.
As I wait for your call, all I can do is close my eyes and hold you. Hold you the way you held me and remember everything we did together.
Sage, you're my past, not my future. Goodbye, Sage.
Hey, Grandma. I know I haven't talked to you in a while, but a lot has been going on recently, and I feel like I really need to talk about it. So much has happened in the past week, and I honestly don't think I've been able to process it all. Let's see, where do I even start? You remember Dylan, right? He's been my best friend ever since I was little. He would usually be at my house when you come over. Oh, he came to Hanukkah the past few years with me. Anyway, so the past few months, Dylan and I got together a few times a week to play music. He wrote some songs, and I think we were actually starting to sound pretty good. We started playing at some small coffee shops, and one of those times, this really cool looking guy came up to us and asked us if we wanted to open for his new band in a few weeks. I mean, it's not like we were opening for like the Stones. These guys were kind of nobodies, but we were getting paid to play in front of people. We got really excited and we started counting down the days, but then the coronavirus happened. School's canceled until I don't even know when. People in the area have gotten it already, and people in my state have died from it. Every day there seems to be new rules and regulations about what we're allowed to do and what we're not. The concert was supposed to be tomorrow. It feels like everything is moving so fast, and my brain is just trying to catch up. And what makes it worse is I don't have either of the people I would normally talk to in this situation. I hate that I can't talk to you anymore. Sure, I can talk to Dylan, but we've never been phone or FaceTime people. If we needed to talk to each other, we would just drive over to each other's house and talk. Now that that's not an option anymore, we've tried to FaceTime, but it just seems so awkward and forced, and it's like we don't know how to talk to each other anymore. There's also something I haven't mentioned yet. Around the same time we met the guy in the band, something happened between Dylan and me. I don't really want to get too much into it, but let's just say things weren't the same after. I had never liked a guy like that, and I didn't really know what was going on. I mean, we never talked about it. And now that we're in quarantine, I feel like we can't talk about anything. It's like we don't know who we are anymore. As much as I hate to admit it, I think I'm really starting to like him. I don't want this stupid virus tearing us apart. I don't know who I am without Dylan. I can't lose him. I wish you were here for this. I know you weren't looking forward to the day you could give me advice about boys. You know, I never really liked sappy love stories, but I could listen to you and Grandpa Henry talk about how you met for hours. I used to think of it as an adventure story, where you and your friends were the brave heroes who saved him from the evil people trying to kill him. Looking back on it now, I don't understand how you could seem to be so strong when you were living during World War II. I still feel lost. Grandma, if you're up there, please help me down here. Give me the strength to get through this, and if you can, give me the hope that one day things are going to be okay again. Henry just told me he loves me for the first time. I could tell he had something special planned for tonight because when I walked into the attic, the rest of his family were in their rooms and the supper table was dressed in a fancy tablecloth with candles on top.
Today I'm packing up my things, getting ready to transfer over to my new life without you. And to be honest, I'm scared to change my normal, to change my life, to start a new chapter, trying to find the ability to let go of my past mistakes, past experiences, past moments, and past best friends. I'm trying to change the things I'm used to doing, habits, what I'm used to being, feeling, even seeing. I want to feel happy about starting over, but something is holding me back. You. I was so happy. I thought I was happy. I used to tell myself, I'll be happy when I get good grades. I'll be happy when everyone likes me. I'll be happy when I learn to completely love myself. But the thing is, I want to be happy right now. I don't want to just wake up searching for happiness. I want to be happy just looking at life and walking through it. I want to remember being happy. It's not always about being happy, but becoming happy, my dad used to say. He'd say, you would have to change the way you think to change the way you feel, and that life is not always happy and easy, but it's worth getting through it. Sadly, though, you don't always get the closure that you want.
Everything keeps getting worse. Everyone just brushes past me. I talked to Nancy the other day, and I was so nice to her, but she barely showed any interest to me. My brothers barely pay any attention to me anymore. I mean, I get it. I don't think I've been the best brother ever, but as selfish as it sounds, I would appreciate some acknowledgement at least. I give so much, and no one ever gives back. I wonder what I'm doing wrong a lot of the time, because I can't see it. Listening to men talk is exhausting. No one's listening to you? Maybe it's because you're not listening to anyone else. This summer, I had to learn that I'm not the most important person in the world. I mean, sure, everyone should be equally important, but what I really mean is that the world doesn't revolve around just one person. If you think that no one's listening to you because you're a terrible person, then you have some serious work to do on yourself. I mean, look at what's happening in your world right now. You're so privileged and you can't even see it. Why can't he see it? Maybe this is why we never got along when you were alive. You never grow or learn. How can you be a functioning member of society if you don't...
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Only darkness every day. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. And this house just ain't no home. Anytime she goes away. Anytime she goes away. Anytime she goes away.
Well, you won't know until you... Wait, what? It's blank. How can he stop writing there? I mean, look, on July 24th he says, I guess I'll just have to accept the fact that no one will ever truly see me for who I am.
How can it stop there? I became a better person, so why can't he? It's not fair. I've gone through 10 times as much as he has, and I turned out great. He has it so great, and he just keeps complaining. I don't. Fine, I'm really scared I'll end up like you. I don't mean dead. That doesn't scare me. I'm worried that I'll spend my whole life wallowing in my own self-pity and never realize how great I have it. Just like you. I don't want to feel lost, but I do. Mom and Amelia walk on eggshells around me ever since you left. It's like they think I'll break. I do nothing. Why can't they just get mad at me? Just yell at me. I don't want to be like you. I don't want to be like you. I just want a different outcome.
Dear Diary, as the days pass by, the more lonely it gets here. I wish someone could be here with me and feel how bare and brutal this place is. My mother was metaphorically speaking earlier and said, how it wouldn't be much worse than these cruel camps. I don't blame her. Every day, it just gets worse and worse, and sometimes I even question if I'll make it out alive. The trek to the internment camps here in Topaz, Utah was not easy either. Smoke and dust just impaled through my lungs, and the sting in my body was a pain I've never felt in my life. Not only adults and parents, but elderly and younglings all traveled here together. I was afraid that my grandfather wouldn't make it to the camps alive. The smile that used to live on his wrinkly, old face started to disappear with the sun setting in the night. This didn't just apply to my grandfather either, but the rest of the elderly traveling here. I don't even want to think of Pearl Harbor and everything that happened that day. And now, the Americans are trying to get revenge on me and all other people of Japanese descendants. They have removed us from our homes, our businesses, and even our families. It's as if we've disappeared. It's like having the best times of your lives until you find out that the happiness has to end. At least, that's how I pictured it as. I miss my friends and normal life. It hasn't been easy living life out here in these camps. But God has helped me get through each day. It just doesn't make sense why I have to go through so much pain for something I didn't even do. I'm only 15. Why should I be punished? The more I think about it, the more it doesn't make sense. If we all have purpose in our lives, Why does mine have to be so much different than everyone else's? Am I supposed to live here for the rest of my life? However, I guess you could say I've learned to look at the good. I've noticed that when I get so caught up in my pain and worries, I forget about everyone else. I forget that we're all going through the same thing together. Even though this is a terrible time and things have never been worse, sometimes it's good to be positive. But I tell you, right now, it is so very hard to keep a smiling face on during the day. I do believe, though, that things will get better. Even though we are all going through the hardest times in our lives, we will survive. I'm sure of it.
Adonai Yahweh, thank you for sparing my brother Lemuel and all who are in our house. You alone are the God on high who saved me and my people from the angel of death that passed over all of Egypt. Please be with Aquila, for she also was in great distress over the plagues and the turmoil that they have caused in all of Egypt. Oh no! Aquila! I didn't get to say goodbye to her! Wait. It is too late. We're supposed to be leaving with Moses within that hour. Yahweh, what should I do? I know. I will leave her a message. Aquila, we have grown to be such good friends over these past few months, even though we come from such different cultures. I must go, although I will miss you, my friend. I realize that you have been like a sister to me, and I hope that you will understand why I am leaving you. I will be gone before you read this, but when you do, always remember, Yahweh answers prayers for those who have faith and trust in Him. Adonai Yahweh be with you until we meet again.
And the most amazing thing just happened. We are staying home. We're in quarantine. That probably sounds really dumb. I'm being excited about being quarantined. But just think, Mom can't go anywhere. With this whole coronavirus thing, she's obligated to stay home. So I was thinking maybe we do more family time, like Friday night board games or movie nights. I saw this really cool thing on TikTok where you can have like themed dinners, and Mom can make a really good casserole. Well, I mean, she used to, but that's okay. Maybe she'll do it again if I ask her, nicely. Maybe she'll even teach me. Maybe. I probably sound super dumb. I'm excited about being in quarantine, but I can't just stress the fact enough that Mom can't go to the office anymore. She has to be here. Well, I mean, she's probably bummed out about that, but I'm not. I mean, maybe this is just the breakthrough we needed. Maybe she'll have time for me. She'll have time to be with us. And this is just like the breakthrough we needed. Maybe she'll see that she's not alone and that her family needs her. I try not to get too excited, but I mean, there's always hope, right? That's what Dad always said. I've also decided that I'm going to talk to Emma more,
spend more time with her. I can tell that I haven't been the best sister, and I just want to make sure that I don't miss out on her life too. You would have wanted that. Well, I'm gonna go to the basement. Emma's been in there for 2 weeks and she still hasn't gone through all of Dad's boxes, so gotta make sure she's not going crazy, right? Don't worry, Ann. I'll keep trying with Mom. I won't give up. Dear Kitty, if I think now of my life just 2 years ago, it all seems so unreal. It was quite a different Anne who enjoyed the heavenly existence from the Anne who has grown wise within these walls. I discovered my inward happiness and my defensive armor of superficiality and gaiety. In due time I quieted down and discovered my boundless desire for all that is beautiful and good. And in the evening when I lie in bed and end my prayers with the words, I thank you, God, for all that is good and dear and beautiful, I'm filled with joy. And I think about the good of going in hiding, of that which will come in time, love, the future, happiness, and of the beauty which exists in the world, nature, beauty, and all that is exquisite and fine. I don't think then of all the misery, but of the beauty that still remains. This is one of those things that Mummy and I are so entirely different about. Her counsel when one feels melancholy is, think of all the misery in the world and be thankful that you're not sharing in it. My advice is, go outside to the fields, enjoy nature and the sunshine. Go out and try to recapture happiness in yourself and in God. Think of all the beauty that's still left in and around you and be happy. I don't see how Mummy's idea can be right, because then how are you supposed to behave if you go through the misery yourself? Then you're lost. On the contrary, I've found that there's always some beauty left in nature. Sunshine, freedom, and yourself. These can all help you. Look at these things, then you find yourself again, and God, and then you regain your balance. And whoever is happy will make others happy too. He who has courage and faith will never perish in misery. Yours, Anne. you.